is a quiz. I know the answer. I want to know if you know the answer. Who is the 49ers' number one trade chip? If they had to determine who would bring back the most in a trade in this organization, who is it? And why?
There's two names, and it's
two.
It's Bosa and Debo.
It's Bosa. It's Bosa. You got it right. I think it's Bosa. Even though to me, Debo Samuel is the best player in the team, the most valuable player in the team, I think Bosa is worth the most in a trade for a lot of reasons. He's an edge rusher. I think people look at them as, on the hierarchy of positions. For whatever reason, it's quarterback, edge rusher, and offensive weapon is down the list, even though it's important. They don't get paid as much. Bosa would get paid more in the open market. He's had 2 seasons of elite production. He comes from a very famous family. I think Bosa could get you the number 1 pick in the draft. I think he could. I think he's that valuable. Or at least a top 5.
Yeah. I think he unlocks that defense. I think people talked about Eric Armstead and what he did, but Bosa's production was consistent all year, and people pay so much attention to him, and he's made big plays all year.
Allow me to retort. Bosa's great. Bosa's great. I'm not downplaying what he does, but you know who else is great? Chris Kosaric. Yeah. And what we saw is when Bosa went down in the first half of the Dallas game, the Dallas playoff game, and left, he was having a great game. The Niners defense picked it up while he was out, and they had endless depth. And so what I'm saying is I'm not saying trade Bosa. I'm saying it's important to remember that he's a very, very, very valuable trade chip. And what you could do if you needed more assets is trade him for like the first pick in the draft and draft the next Bosa. And have another great edge rusher and also be able to free up cap space, because eventually this guy's going to cost you $30-35 million a year.
If you were to do that, this year would be the year to do it, since there's two premium edge rushers at the top of the draft, and Thibodeau and
I'm not saying, but the thing that's nice about Bosa too is I don't think, even if the Niners give him the extension and make him the highest paid defensive player of all time, I don't think his value goes down. I think everyone loves Bosa. And I think everyone would agree that would be a fair price for him, and they could find a team that would give up a high pick for him at whatever price, because even if he gets hurt, because he's shown that he can come back better. I don't know. I think they can hold on to him, but I feel like that's something they could do down the line. They could do it now. They could do it in the future. But if they ever want the number 1 pick in the draft and a lot of cap space, it's an option. It's an option.
It is
it's an option. Debo, I don't know if you want to get rid of Debo, because he's always going to impact your quarterback. He's going to make your quarterback better. Bosa plays defense. Bosa doesn't impact Trey Lance at all. He plays an important position, but the Niners have a defensive line coach who can manufacture a pass rush. He's shown it.
Right. I think to an extent, though. I mean, you talked about the Dallas game, and yes, he did it. But like when you look at what the 49ers last year, he could manufacture pass rush last year. But when they started facing elite quarterbacks, they could remember the Josh Allen game. And
I wouldn't say trade Bosa for no one. I would trade him for
right.
Next Bosa.
I agree, and I think you need an elite guy there. And if you're gonna, this year will be the year to do it, because you got 2 that you could get at the top of the draft. And
I like elite edge rushers for sure. I do. I really do. And he is one. I'm just saying he's going to get paid like one soon. And the Niners don't have first round picks for like the next 3 decades. So
to be honest, they've created a blueprint for it in Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like in a couple of years, you could be like, all right, well, you know what? We're just going to get cheaper at that position. We're going to move up in the draft to like the 3rd or 5th overall pick.
Yeah.
Trade our best guy. I wouldn't call Jimmy a best guy, but trade your starter and get a return, and then reset
if they extend Bosa this year, he'll still be relatively cost effective the next 2 years. Like his cap number will be low. That's been the Niners' pattern, unless the last couple of years with Kittle, Armstead. It's like year 3 where they get really expensive. So I see no reason to trade Bosa yet. He's still going to be a bargain until 2020. What? 2020 freaking 5?
If he stays healthy, especially like the other.
But eventually, you might want to trade him. I'm just saying. I mean, unless you could do want him in the Ring of Honor or something, because he's so important to the culture of the team.
If somehow you can nail like an edge rusher in like the 3rd or 2nd round and nail that pick and get another elite guy, then I mean, not only will you just really unlock some kind of defense, then the Bosa trade becomes definitely an option.
the Jedi says we shouldn't sweat the first round this year. Treat the second like the first and move up in the second. Cost less as well.
Yeah, I think that's an option. I think they can moving up in the second, depending on target. I think to me, safety and I know people aren't talking about this, but I think offensive tackles should be. You can't. Those guys, you don't really find them in late in the draft. They're second round picks, first round picks. So if you want to have a shot at like legitimately replacing McGlinchey, you got to address it early. It's not going to be Colton McKivitz in the 5th round or Jalen Moore. It's got to be someone early, first, second round.